The Wade and Carter Show is a paid programming, and KHMC Magic 95 assumes no responsibility
95.
for its content, and the Wade and Carter Show bears all responsibilities for their opinions
And guests on their show.
Cuban Freedom Crisis. We'll talk snakes on a plane, MLB All-Star Game, U.S. Olympic team, all that and more coming up on today's Wade and Carter Show.
It's the weather.
What's out there? Too close? Back it up.
That's good. Let's go with that.
Morning.
Morning,
Morning.
T-shirt.
How are you? How are you?
Good.
How are you? How are you?
Let's see.
Who's that, Jimmy Durante?
Three Stooges, right?
I don't know.
No, that's right. That was Jimmy Durante. How are you? How are you? How are you?
Isn't it?
JD.
Or Edward G. Robinson.
Right? I think we said a little flat.
Yeah, I
That's
think
better.
we're all. I don't know.
There we go.
That's better. Let's do this.
Tuesday while our whip is out.
Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at Deerlam Feed. The Deerlam Feed store has been at their location in the old gym building for over 50 years. Go by today, get everything you need for your home garden. You need plants. If you need animal pet feed, tack, saddle, rope, all kinds of, honcho, bug killer, weed killer.
Yeah, you're going to want to get the weed killer and the bug killer probably today.
I bet you by Saturday the mosquitoes are out of control.
Yeah, it's going to be nasty.
You sure they got an alligator in the ditch out behind Terra Vista?
Been a lot of alligators in and around.
Remember when they were rare?
Yeah.
So seems lizards.
I like them a little more medium.
Pigs, they vacate the area. They are prolific breeders. They grow rapidly. 74 degrees in Victoria, heading to a high today of 86, and 60% chance of rain.
Yeah. Like we need that.
There could be some rain.
Yeah. Generals went on a walk-off last night, 11 innings, 6-5. They get the win. Adam Becker with an RBI single to win it.
Go Gens. Go Gens.
Major League Baseball All-Star Game. American
Boring.
League wins again.
Boring.
They win again. They win
Boring.
again.
The American League has the best players. The American League has the best teams. The American League is and has been long before the Astros got there. American League plays the best baseball. Is it not on?
Yeah.
It's on. I thought we were live. I thought I hit the button properly.
Didn't pop up in my feed this morning.
Well, you've got some technical difficulties.
I
There's
might.
a lot going on. Look at that Veracruz T-shirt. It is called a
It
Wednesday.
is called a Wednesday. So
Highly recommend. You know who likes that called a Wednesday?
who's that? You?
Police Chief Robert Arredondo likes it a lot. Gets by there and gets him a hot steaming bowl. Called a. Good morning, David Brogger. Do your roll call, Ash.
Scott Tomko's in. Kendra Douglas. Good morning. Jeff Finley.
Hi,
Ricky
Jeff.
King. Ricky was at the Generals game last night. Stuart Martin.
Did he bring the big truck? Did he park the big rig out in the parking lot?
You know, I can't see back there, so I don't know, but he
Here's
did
the
not stay.
judge.
He left early. Scott Snow, good morning. Judge Posey's checking in. Justin Glass, Karen Webb, Lisa Poole, Matt Boucher, Rob Moore-Knipling, Janelle Sarles, Kerry Bump, Stephen Kidder, good morning. David Glass, Christina Wise, Patrick Strauss, Diane Tippett, good morning. Gil Garcia, Daniel White checking
Hello,
in.
Gil.
Scott Tomko, AJ Louderback, good morning, Sheriff.
Hello,
HR
Sheriff.
Mallory's in.
Hello, Trooper.
Saw HR at the game last night as well.
Great guy.
It's first responders night, so there were a lot. Mike Bloschke was there as well.
Awesome. You see how Gil Garcia likes my T-shirt. That's
I
why.
see that. Well, because he'll be over there probably
You
later today
bet.
too.
It's the place to be.
Yeah. So MLB All-Star game, 5-2. American League wins for the 8th straight time.
Every pitcher threw like 96. And what is that?
I think Ohani hit 100 a couple times.
There was a guy, did you know that guy folks, this is an anomaly of sports. This is like a guy, I don't know, leading the league in rebounding and 3-point shooting. Or this is like a guy leading the league in rushing
Blocks.
and tackles.
Yeah.
Otani's got 33 homers and 70 RBIs at the break. I mean, this guy's on pace,
66 and 140.
Yeah.
If you take it as the halfway mark.
Yeah, that is incredible.
Yeah.
Now, you got to figure he'll get tired, but there's no reason this guy shouldn't hit 50 homers and have well over 100 RBIs. That is incredible, especially given that he throws at 95 miles an hour on the mound and is a great pitcher.
I'd like to see him not hit 50, but push the RBIs up and de-emphasize the home run a little bit.
Right.
And
he has 45 homers and has
Situational hitting.
160 RBIs.
yeah,
That'd be incredible.
that'd be Hank
That would be
Greenberg type
incredible.
numbers.
Yeah, that's incredible. They're just what I don't like, and I
Ricky King
didn't
didn't
like.
have the truck, and he did stay for the end of the game.
There you go. Don't get him in trouble.
My sources aren't so good.
Good morning, Mike. We just mentioned First Responders Night. Appreciate you being at the ball game last night. You know, when you watch this kid, and he is effervescent. He's bubbling with excitement. He's fun to watch. He's smiling. He gets it. He gets to be here. They had a microphone on Fernando Tatis Jr. last night at shortstop during the game, and Joe Buck, who's just the biggest, like, let me sit in your lap, Troy Aikman puppet idiot who I don't like at all. Buck said, "So Fernando, I mean, you know, you're mic'd up, and if they hit the ball to you, you got to get it over to first really quick." And he just laughed and said, he goes, you sure are smiling a lot. He goes, you've got to when you're blessed to play the game. And, those guys, these young guys in the league, Machado, Correa, and Altuve's over 30 now, but Tatis, Vlad Guerrero Jr., these guys baseball is in good hands with this group of athletes. And the Ohtani kid,
Winning pitcher last night.
And Joe Buck just kept going on. His parents raised him right. He was taught the importance of education. They were trying to run the guy for office. But Joe Buck is just
hate to tell you, Joe, that's pretty much everybody in Japan.
Yeah, they all study. They all do their homework. They all work hard. That's why they are successful. This kid just happened to be like 6'5", and he can just bring it
and can swing a bat.
There's Chris Charest.
Now the mayor, Jennifer Rayburn, but I agree with you. I like this.
Jennifer.
I like this group of youngsters coming up. They have fun. Some of the
Bregman. Put Bregman in that group.
No, I'd put the Astros in that group. Altuve. What was his name that used to do the robot in the dugout for the
Reddick?
No,
who?
They traded him off before they won after they won the World Series, and I can't remember his name now.
Outfielder?
Might have been utility guy. Kind of played a little bit all over the place.
Not Kemp.
Somebody will know it. But anyway,
tell me this, and I'm.
But here's the old timers. They take offense to it because they celebrate home runs differently and all. It wasn't against all this. But here's the thing: if I can spike a football and do a dance in an end zone, why can't I celebrate a 3-run home run in a baseball game?
Right. No, yeah. It's like
let's have some fun.
There's nothing wrong with it. You and I have talked, lamented for years, correctly, by the way, that when the Astros are loose and having fun, nobody can beat them. No, when they're crunching, when they're grinding, this is not a team that's built for that. This is a team that's built for celebration. This is a team that likes to do crazy handshakes and tackle each other in the dugout and, body slam. They body slam Bregman and pick on him and have fun with him. And when they're healthy and having fun and cutting up, nobody can beat them.
Nobody.
And that I think the Astros, you have to kind of squint to see this. But this group of Astros, besides the fact that they're good citizens, they seem to be – I always liked the San Antonio Spurs back when I watched the NBA. because they were good people. The Astros seem to fall into that category. I enjoy their commercials. The playfulness of Correa and Altuve doing commercials is interesting to me. And when I watch them now, I think they're kind of falling into that. They're like the Detroit Pistons used to be with Isaiah Thomas and Rodman and Mahorn and that group. They're kind of the bad boys of baseball. It's like, oh, yeah, you're going to call us cheaters? Fine. We'll find a way not to go to the All-Star game. And then we're going to come back and beat you. And then we're going to the World Series, and we won't be on Sports Illustrated because we don't care.
You know, it's probably a good way to kind of put it. A good analogy, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's accurate. You know, the Pistons weren't really bad people. They were just the bad boys. You know?
Yeah.
They played hard, and they would hit you, and they would do stuff. Well, the Astros are kind of showing that they've got some grit to them. You know, Gurriel's the old man. He's probably like 37, I think. Maybe not. He keeps getting younger. They hope. Of course, he's making so much money now. When he played in Cuba for $50 a week, you know, now he's making $50,000 a game. More than that. Sorry. Makes about $7 or $8 million a year, I think. He took a pay cut. See, people don't know this stuff. Yuli Gurriel was in an option year and took a pay cut to stay with the Astros. In which case, he's got a contract coming up next year.
Well, the numbers he's putting up.
Isn't it funny how they hit 320 in his contract year?
And he took the pay cut because he came off a year when he hit like 234 or something like that. He wasn't exactly doing much.
But now he's arguably MVP material.
Yeah.
Well, Ash is digging.
I'm trying to find the name, and it's going to drive me nuts all
Marwin
day.
Gonzalez?
No.
The MVP was Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. If you need a tow, he's the all-star to go to. Alan, Miller, Janet, Little Alan. Take care of you. Protect your vehicle. That's one thing. Vehicles are so expensive now. You can't just drag it around behind a truck. You got to get it up on a flatbed and deliver it gingerly back to the dealership. Allen's Wrecker Service. The VCS companies, Rocket Oilfield Services, the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer. First responder night. If you're a first responder, get by the AT&T store on Kerr Boulevard, just off Main, just inside the loop, and get FirstNet. It's a dedicated network for first responders. You know, Victoria's clamoring to try to get better internet service. How about better phone service for you guys? If the system goes down, if there's a storm, an emergency, FirstNet will work, and first responders can still communicate. Get by the VCS companies for that. Chesnick Furniture, 101 years, downtown Victoria. 70 years at their current location. Go by and see Bobby Leon and his family. Let Bobby help you. With love, Chesnick and Love make your house a home. Go by and let Bobby Leon show you why you just do better at Chesnick.
And of course, your t-shirt sponsor today.
Absolutely. Veracruz Caldo Wednesday. Today is the day. Go ahead and get a big old Stephen Bowl Caldo. You'll enjoy it. It's wonderful. Staff is great. Family's great. Your family when you're there, and they love you.
Hank Conger. That was the guy's name.
Hank Conger. He did a robot.
Remember him?
No.
Sit there and do the robot and the. No?
I don't remember him. When was he there?
Remember him?
Oh, yeah. I remember that guy. So.
Going back, like 2015. I had to go back.
Going back. Dennis Keuchel. I remember watching a
Dallas, you mean?
Dallas Keuchel. I like to get their names wrong. The other guy, Gaddis. I saw Gaddis get caught in a triple play. It's like, you know, Gaddis for Gurriel. Which one do you want? Give me Gurriel.
You know, but I think Gaddis was key to that.
Oh, he was good. No, he was good.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you a win for you.
What's that?
When this weather cleans up, and no pun intended, we're getting your truck over to AJ's Detailing. I cannot wait.
No, I can't
for you to see the transformation, because it there's clean, and then there's, you know.
Then there's AJ's clean.
Wow. You're just like, wow. You know, my car's always clean, and I went, wow. So
I got in it and went, wow.
Yeah. So plan on AJ's Detailing. Go to AJ's Detailing here on Facebook. Check out the page. And his phone number is there. So Scott Tonko says Joe Buck's a man people love to hate. It's true. He's not as smart as like Howard Cosell. Like you hated Cosell, but he was always right. Joe Buck is just like, I'm Joe Buck alongside the Hall of Famer, John Schmaltz.
A little bit, but
alongside the Hall of Famer, Troy Aikman.
And I like Joe Buck as a play-by-play guy. I think he's good. I think here's the problem now that he's on TV. He forgets he's on TV because he does a lot of the old radio play-by-play crutches. In radio, because you can't see anything and people on radio tune in and tune out and tune in and tune out.
Right.
So they only tune in for a little bit of the broadcast for sports. You repeat yourself in radio.
Well,
and I think that's part of the problem why I think people don't like Joe Buck is he's taken that from his radio days into TV, and he repeats himself too much. Juan Soto's still only 21, by the way.
Well,
and it annoys people.
So like
but he is a really good play-by-play guy.
What's your guy's name What's your guy's name? Now, see, that's divisive. I don't care what anybody says. That's divisive.
Dan Shulman?
Dan Shulman does such a great job. He's a guy that would say Altuve takes a lead at first. But Buck, because of his radio, Buck will say Altuve wearing the short knicker-style pants takes a lead. He's about 8 feet off the bat. Well, you're watching it on TV. I can see him.
And they have that little tracker now that shows you how far the lead is. That's pretty cool.
Sometimes less is more on television.
It is more on TV because the pictures do so much. And that I mean, as much as Vin Scully could paint pictures and Al Michaels, they also knew when to shut up on TV and let the moment just be captured by the viewers.
I can't imagine where I think I would have a huge problem is like Al Michaels. Do you believe in miracles? I mean, I think he had probably thought of that before he said it. Does he say he did? It just came out. But when you see,
because there's no way you practice for that because nobody thought the U.S. was winning that game.
But when you see one of those moments, and you realize that, like one of the purest ever is the Astros broadcaster who was the Braves Milo Hamilton's call of Hank Aaron's 715th home run, or 716, 715. It's so pure. There's joy in his voice. There's excitement. It's one of the greatest calls in the history of broadcasting, and it made Milo a Hall of Famer. But if you're watching that moment and you're a reporter or a broadcaster, it's one of those moments that in your brain, do I say something? Do I let the moment listen to the crowd? Wait, what are you going to say? It matters. Your next words matter. It'd be very difficult.
And I think the format and the medium determines that. On TV, you don't have to say much.
Right.
If you have and here's where the people that don't get on the camera can make or break those moments. The producer, the quality of your camera people to know where to get to the shot and make sure that they're capturing what needs to be captured. Those can make or break those moments on TV. On radio, all you have are the announcers to bring that home to you as you're a listener.
You think people right now are happy that with us? We're just sitting there talking about. Scott Tonko says he wants to see.
This is always a show about whatever we want to talk about, right?
He wants to see Joe Buck do a hockey game. The puck goes to Kalishnikov. He's only 21.
I'd be curious to see if he could do one. It's
clearing around.
It's my play-by-play experiences.
To Michikov Jr.
You have to know the games. There's no juniors in Russia.
He's 22. There's no juniors. Everybody's first generation.
No, the surnames are different. There's patronyms and matronyms.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm Canadian
please,
today.
unless you know what you're talking about.
Right.
But the hardest part I found in hockey is not so much keeping up with the players because of the continual changes. The flow of the game is very similar to basketball. But basketball, they're not changing on the fly.
Patrick Strauss says, "What if you're on radio with a live Facebook stream?" Yeah, but Ash and I aren't commenting on how great we look or how great,
No, we don't do that.
Ash leans definitely to his right, has a sip of coffee, and comes back. We're not doing that. By the way, Ash drinks a quart of coffee, usually with 3 fingers of Jameson in it, just to get his day started.
That's the first cup.
Right. After that, he eases back on the coffee.
Let's see. Bobcat Wallace says Correa's breakdown of the World Series victory and the way he addressed the cheating scandal was done with dignity and displayed how special the Astros were. They continue to display how awesome they are.
People can get offended, and make no mistake, it's my team, so I tend to lean in their direction. But I would tell you with all sincerity, I wouldn't be nearly as worked up as Dodgers fans are about the Astros if it had been the Dodgers. I would be like, take back the trophy. I mean, baseball, I don't know any other way to put it. Baseball is a cheater sport. Well, it's always been a cheater sport.
My perspective on that now, knowing how far back and widespread the substance on the baseballs was for pitchers across the league.
And it still will be. This will pass.
They'll find another way to get them on the ball. They always have. They always will.
That's what makes baseball baseball.
But to me, it's lessen the severity of what the Astros and the Red Sox and the Yankees and the Dodgers
and nobody's mad. Nobody's mad at the Yankees or Red Sox. And the Dodgers are griping the loudest. Boy, Trevor Bauer got his karma.
Right. But the interesting thing with the Dodgers name was bandied all about shortly after the Astros. So were the Yankees. But you couldn't tarnish the 2 most storied franchises in Major League Baseball history, and the Yankees on the East Coast and the Dodgers on the left coast. So they hammered the Astros, and they treated the Red Sox with a little less severity than the Astros. But in my opinion, and this is globally speaking,
Cora was the guy.
Well, Cora was the guy, but when you look back at how far back the doctoring of baseballs by pitchers went, all the Astros were trying to do was level that playing field a little bit. And let's not forget, Astros pitchers were probably doctoring baseballs as well.
No doubt. I mean, Mike Scott was known for having there was during that era, the early 80s to when Mike Scott moved to the World Series.
86.
Yeah, and Scotty had a no-hitter to close out the season. Everybody said that they would glue individual pieces of sand to his fingernail, that super glue was a big deal, and that he would use that and make a cut in the baseball. And they didn't take balls out of play after every pitch like they do now.
But, I wonder if that was the origin of the cutter.
Well, it's just they did stuff, and a lot of it is just psychological for the pitcher. He believes that the ball is going to do crazy things, and therefore it does. You watched Gaylord.
The ball that does crazy things is knuckleball.
Yeah, but you watched Gaylord Perry, and I mean, he was known for throwing a spitter, and said that the pocket of the catcher's mitt would be wet for the stuff that he would get on it. Water, Vaseline, a combination, mineral oil. They put stuff. I mean, I can remember watching guys. When Brantley bats and he gets that little smudge of
pine tar
on his shirt, I can remember watching pitchers that had a dirty yellow spot on their right hip, and they're cleaning their hand. Well, they're cleaning their hand and imparting a substance to their fingertips. It's awesome. Now I want to meet the little kid who's in Little League, got a little chutzpah, putting him a little Kramer cheesing
under the brim.
Whatever it takes, baby. Whatever it takes.
That's why they went away from the green brims on caps underside, right? It was too easy to spot the brown substance pitchers.
Scotty Tomko was that guy. He's about 5'0", thrown at about 60 miles an hour, but it always had movement. I'm not sure what he was doing to it back then. Tomko could pitch. And he shared something that I had going for me. He did not care if he hit a batter. We didn't walk over and shake hands. We're like 11, 12 years old. Like, get on first base and shut up, quit crying.
I read Bobby Grich, good second baseman. I remember him mostly with the Angels, but I think he came up through the Orioles organization, or at least made his major league debut with the Orioles. I read a story of his first at bat in the majors, and he was facing Nolan Ryan. And
Don't hit it.
Basically, first couple pitches went as they should. I think a strike and a ball or something, fouled one off, and he was pretty pleased. So he figures, okay, Nolan's going to throw one, a little bit outside. So he got right up on that plate.
Oh, here it comes.
Wrong.
Right
at his chin, and down he went. He didn't get hit, but he brushed him back. And Nolan Ryan, I remember this, Nolan Ryan was kind of turning back after getting the ball. He kind of looked at me like, don't be taking that plate like that, kid.
Right. I love that. I love the nuances of baseball. There was Bob Gibson was such a fiery competitor, such just a scared. Make no mistake about it, because Bob Gibson was a black man playing in the mid '60s, people were scared of him. They were scared of him. He's black. He's got a chip on his shoulder. I'm a white guy. He's going to hit me.
What's interesting is for the reputation of being that guy, Bob Gibson is nowhere near the all-time leader in hit batters.
No, but I mean, Willie Mays talks about just don't go up to the plate and start digging in. He's going to get you out of that dug-in hole. He went over and told a kid, some rookie came up, and like in his first at-bat ever, he got a single off Gibson. And Gibson was so livid that he had left a pitch up in the zone. He walked over to first base and said, "You'll always remember the day you got a hit off me." Think about that. I mean, he was angry. I love that. That's baseball. You don't give it. Quarterbacks don't walk up to linebackers and go, "I'll always remember the day I threw that pass right over your shoulder." They just don't. They don't. Nobody talks trash anymore. Baseball and tennis. That's pretty much it. The NBA. I mean, we can't understand it all anyway.
No. I like looking at, always wondering what they're saying to each other when all of a sudden the first baseman will start busting out in a laugh. Or
yeah,
the
guy what do say to each other? Arthur O'Brien checking in from Sacramento, California. He's the one that told me last week that, don't worry, California's leading the way. Everything's going great. $4.35 a gallon for gasoline, $8.99 a pound for ground chuck.
Matt Oker says Gibson didn't even want to play in all-star games because players from the other teams were his enemies.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Think about it back then. See, you either won your division. There were only two divisions. You either won your division and went. I think there were two, and you went to the NLCS, and the winner of that went to
the World Series.
So Gibson hated those guys. He didn't want to play with them. What if he ended up liking them? What if he felt sorry for them?
Somebody asked what was on the line for yesterday's All-Star game, and I don't think anything.
Is it not home and home anymore?
I don't think it matters for the World Series anymore. But here's what I would like to see. The owners of the teams in the losing league should have to put up $1 million into the pension fund of players that, say, played before 1980 or somewhere where they don't have much. That's what should happen. The losing league should have to supplement the pension fund of the guys that
came play a little harder.
It might.
Yeah, I like that.
And Matt Oker says back then, there was no free agency. It wasn't a thing until Kurt Flood came along.
The idea that a pitcher might get you 5.5 innings was laughed at. I mean, Nolan Ryan took the mound every time he took it, planning on pitching 9 innings.
Yeah. No, there was none of that. But Vlad Jr. also gets the All-Star Game MVP. I wonder if is that as illustrious an accomplishment as it once was when you play 2 innings and you hit a 2-run home run. You go 1 for 3, you hit a 2-run home run, you're the MVP.
No, it's almost by default now. Here, I have a question for you and for our listeners. What baseball records? I'll give you 4 records, and you tell me which one's the most insurmountable. Nolan Ryan's 5,000 strikeouts.
That's what that is. What,
Yeah, well, so Nolan Ryan strikeouts 5,000.
what 700 and something, right?
No, it's like 5,200 something. I think. Nolan Ryan strikeouts. Joe DiMaggio's 56 game hitting streak. Ted Williams' 406 batting average.
Yeah, 5,714.
Wow.
Close.
That could be the
That's
one.
14 off.
How are you gonna ever strike out 5,700 people?
You can't when you only pitch 5 innings a day.
Well, look
these
at
days.
Ohtani leads the league. He's averaging 11 point something strikeouts per 9 innings.
That's how they're starting to phrase that one now, because nobody pitches even close to 9 innings anymore. Remember, they used to say, he's averaging 8 strikeouts a game, because they used to pitch 8 or 9 innings a game. But now they've got to whittle it down and go, well, he's averaging 11 strikeouts per 9 innings because he's striking out 10
or 5.
But he's only pitching 5 innings.
Yeah, he's striking out 6 in 5 innings, which is like 11 in 9 innings. But he's still only got 6 strikeouts. He's got to do that 1,000 times to beat Nolan Ryan.
Pete Montana says the strikeouts. Matt Oker says the strikeouts.
So at 45 starts a year, he'd have to play 20 years to get, it's just incredible. The numbers are just staggering.
Yeah.
What about, will anybody ever play in as many straight games as Cal Ripken Jr.? Will anybody ever hit 700 and something home runs again? Yordan Alvarez on the pace. On the pace.
Yeah, but you think about that number.
Can you do it forever? You got to do it forever.
Think about it. If you average 40 a year for 10 years, you're only about halfway there.
Think about the numbers that these guys have put up, the superlatives. Nolan Ryan, Roger Clemens with 7 Cy Youngs. 7? I don't care if he was on heroin. 7 Cy Youngs. Craziness.
OB says Ripken's 70 games will never be broken. I'm not sure the hit numbers will ever get there either.
You want to try to figure out how many cars Atzenhofer's sold since 1926?
Every single one that they've sold?
Every single. How far will this plane take us? All the way to the scene of the crash.
That's exactly it.
Atzenhofer since 1926, Victoria's dealership. Reach out today, Atzenhofer.com. Atzenhofer Parts, Atzenhofer Sales and Service, Atzenhofer Paint and Body Shop. They've got it.
Service.
Anything to do with your car, Atzenhofer's got it. White Trash Services, 550-1826.
I'm not sure if BJ's back from Florida yet.
Wanting you to have a trash-tastic day. Whether you need a roll-off dumpster for a big project or you need weekly trash service in the 7 counties, Sacramento, California, Las Vegas, Lavernia, all the laws. They got it all. Reach out to the laws. Razor IT Solutions.
There she is. She's back from Florida.
What did she say?
She's back from Florida.
What does it say?
They were at the Top Gun football camp.
Oh, awesome.
Welcome back. Glad you traveled safely, BJ.
Welcome home. Have a trash-tastic day. Razor IT Solutions. I talked to JP yesterday. JP said that he was busy, but the things were going good. He's got time for you, for your encryption, for your data, for your analytics, to help you build a brand, to help you build a website, to help you let your Facebook interact with your website, interact with your QuickBooks, collect money, protect your customers. He can do it. Reach out to them. If he fails, call Steve Kidder. Law Offices of Steve Kidder. Steve's a general practitioner of a lawyer. He understands contracts. He understands relationships. He understands wills, trusts, deeds, adoptions, divorces. He can do it all.
Any legal document, he'll cut through the mumbo jumbo and translate it for you.
He's like the Doogie Howser of law. He just gets it. Reach out to him. And of course, Complete. We talked about Complete 360. We talked about the health bar. The latest skinny is, now T-Lac gave me this. The latest skinny is wraps, soups, salads.
Burrito bowls. They're basically going to
broadening their offerings.
Yeah, they're going to become a healthy Chipotle.
There you go. How about that? A healthy Chipotle.
Right here over on the Red River.
We'll probably get sued for that. What did we read right here?
Better Show says play MLBs, beat the streak, and you'll realize how difficult the 56-game hitting streak is.
Yeah, one of the great stories, Patrick, and I don't have the exact details, but I remember one of the numbers. Joe DiMaggio was troubled at times with a bone spur on his heel, and he hit successfully in 56 games that he played in, but there was a gap in there where he set out for medical reasons. It wasn't a 56 straight games; it was 56 straight games he played in. And when he got up, I think the number was 13, but it may have been as high as 17. DiMaggio penciled himself in, said, "I'll play," and went up to the plate and fouled off, not behind into the screen, down the first base line, fouled off. It was well over 10 pitches. I think the number was 17, but I can't prove it. And then laced a double into left center. And that's how pure a hitter DiMaggio, how zoned in he was then, and nothing like Ted Williams. If Ted Williams, these gentlemen also went and saved the world in World War II.
Ted Williams, if I'm not mistaken, was shot down and crashed his
pilot.
plane in Korea as well.
And Williams was a guy that, like, in the middle of his prime, was gone for like 3 seasons. Was it 5?
I think
You can't even imagine the numbers that guy could have put up had he been there for those 5
because don't forget,
seasons.
he went World War II and then served in Korea.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Hated Boston fans. I think it's an awesome story.
John Davis says best generation.
Greatest for sure. You're exactly right.
So do we want to foreshadow? Callie Frommie says when you stop talking baseball, she'll tune back in. So do we want to foreshadow where America is going if the Democrats get further control of this country?
Yeah, you can do it.
Look at Cuba.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's as much as you need to see to understand where the Marxist ideology will get this country. I think as of last night, what was it, Monday morning? I think we talked about people in Havana taking to the streets to protest.
Before it was on the Main Street News.
Yeah. But since then, over 100 political enemies of the Castro regime have just simply been whisked away.
Yeah.
I'm guessing half of those will never be heard or seen from ever again.
No, because you never let a good crisis go to waste. This is exactly like George Bush seizing the ability to listen to all your phone calls. The communists are like, hey, while everybody's looking over there, let's use this little misdirection and round up him and him and him and him. We'll kill those idiots. And that is what happened. They're gone. 100 people that people go, well, what happened to old Fred? He was pretty conservative. Fred's gone. You'll never hear from him again. He'll float up on,
Miami
Beach. Interesting. I know we talked about it for a minute with Bill Posey. Did we talk about Cuba already on the show this morning?
No, we're talking about it right now.
I found it interesting that
Pay attention, hey.
This is Wade and Carter. Bill Posey had a call this morning from a gentleman named Eddie Perez. And Mr. Perez was a Cuban national. He's an American citizen now, but came here from Cuba. And he pointed out that it used to be that if you could make it to international waters, you could request asylum for political reasons, and the U.S. would welcome you. Now, put this in perspective with what's going on our southern border today. During the Clinton administration, they talked about wet feet, dry feet. If you could make it to our shore somehow, you'll remember back during the Clinton administration, people dying on small watercraft, yearning to get to the U.S. They had to make it to our shore to request political asylum.
Yeah, and didn't they try to say that was to try to discourage folks from getting in the water? That was to save lives?
I was trying to save their lives, yeah.
Never quite understood that.
They would rather die than live under that communist regime. Then President Obama, late in his administration, just said no more asylum for Cubans who come over. Just don't come. We don't want you. And you say, now, how is that not what the left is known for? How is that not hypocritical?
That's compassionate, isn't it?
It is hypocritical, and here's why. The left believes that American Latinos and folks from Latin American countries that are streaming across our border will embrace the freebies offered by the Democratic Party. They're wrong. My Hispanic friends, certainly my Texan,
No, but that's
Latino
why
friends don't want that
the
garbage.
ones are coming from Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, Venezuela, Nicaragua. They're being told, if you leave, Joe Biden is going to give you all this stuff.
Right. So guess what? Why is that not consistent with what's going on in Cuba? Because the Cuban guy, like Mr. Perez, who comes over here, who said he had no trouble getting an ID, who said he legally obtained citizenship, who said he is an American citizen and votes in every election. The Democrats don't want that guy. They want a guy that falls in line, accepts communism, and becomes part of the reliant upon the party garbage. They are the hypocrites of all time because the Cuban's going to come here and vote Republican.
There are only two types of people that vote communism or vote for communism, Marxism. Those that are in power because of it, and those that have never, ever, ever, ever even sniffed the stench of living under communist rule.
Exactly. That's Joe Geisman right there says, look, Cubans vote almost exclusively Republican. Why? They want to be free.
Bernie Sanders can sit there and spout his communist Marxist garbage all he wants and ideologies, because in Bernie's mind, Bernie will continue to do what he's doing now, except he will get more power and become even richer than he already is. You know, he's only bankrupted his wife only bankrupted a school. They ended up with a bunch of the assets out of that. I mean, go figure that one out.
Nobody investigated that. While the school that she was running went broke, they built a like $10 million lake house.
The school was building these things.
Yeah, for them.
Where was the board? Where was the oversight on this going? I don't know that you should be building a lake house for your presidential residence of a community college.
Right. It just milked it.
But lo and behold, but those are the two people that ever support and vote communists and for communism. Those that will, and let's be honest, you never vote for it. They seize it. There's never been, I can't recall a peaceful transition into communism ever.
No country except the U.S. has ever contemplated voting itself into communism. It's always
and there's always communists running, but it's always a revolution. It's always violent.
It's always under the guise of we're going to take over the country for the people. Look at Cuba itself.
Yeah.
Take over the country for the people. Fidel Castro, man of the people. Always wearing green, OD green uniform. He was just a typical soldier of the people.
Played the New York Times to help popularize his rise to fame, which really wasn't happening at the time.
Absolutely.
I heard an account of that yesterday. He snookered some New York Times reporter in the 50s to come down to Cuba, go sit in the jungle with him. And to display all the support he had, he kept parading the same 10 or 12 militant guerrilla fighters around this reporter, and the reporter had no clue it was the same people. And that was the basis for the New York Times story, that he had hundreds of troops ready to storm Havana and take over the country.
Craziness. I wonder what Pete McNally thinks about what's going on in Cuba. How does Pete see? Does Pete see Joe Biden as the savior? Joe Biden's going to solve these problems for the Cubans?
James Kerr says, let's not forget who helped put Fidel into power. Yeah, the San Francisco Giants, because they didn't make him their starting pitcher.
Right, they should have kept him. He wasn't a bad pitcher.
Yeah. No, the U.S. was somewhat complicit.
And he says,
the CIA was.
Not forget who helped keep Saddam in power. Let's not forget who propped up the Ayatollah. Let's not forget that.
No, we didn't probably. No,
what's his name?
Shah.
Yeah, the Shah. What was the guy's name that we killed? Osama bin Laden was a CIA operative. This is not fiction. This is reality. He worked for the CIA. Got a better deal from the Taliban.
That Oker's true. Our support of despots is beyond compare.
Well, I think
Absolutely. I mean, go through Central and South America.
You know, in the same humor that I would say, or with the same levity that I would go, you know, we've killed a few people, but they had it coming. With that type of sincerity, the U.S. is extremely hypocritical if they judge. I mean, that's why Putin is so smug. You have to understand, Putin has seen both behind the curtain.
Yeah.
He knows what the U.S. has done. He combated what the U.S. did when he was with the KGB. I mean, I guarantee you there were times that Putin and a U.S. operative both stood over the same body and said, "See you, comrade. That was good riddance." I don't know
Flip a
which
coin for who gets credit for this
I don't
one.
know which one of us killed that guy, but he needed to go. And it's all been leading to this great showdown between communism and capitalism. And Putin says that communism will win because through communism you can be more responsive to the market. You can dictate that things get to market quicker and that things are built quicker and that market demands are fulfilled quicker.
They never are.
The problem is the U.S. is the country that has all the resources.
James Kerr says there's a missed opportunity for Cuba to be free, but the wrong U.S. leadership is in place.
If Trump was there, I think we'd probably send down 50 troops and Cuba would be done. And I don't think Russia would even challenge us for Cuba anymore now that Castro's gone.
You know, who might? The Chinese.
And I think that'd be interesting. I think if you told China, you know what, Wang Chung, go on back, suck an egg roll and leave us alone, you'd be surprised how quick China might go, "Oh, okay. See you next year."
Interesting development on Russia. One of the big hackers, speaking of Putin and Russia, but one of the big hacking, I don't know if you can call them a firm, groups. Apparently, all of their websites on the dark web went dark. They've,
Really?
And then here's the thing with these guys: they're smart enough. They've supposedly been put out of business, but they'll reform and rear their ugly heads once again. But apparently, this came about from pressure not only from the Biden administration, but others around the world who were being subjected to the hacks of these hackers out of Russia for the most part.
Right.
Apparently, the world was starting to come and put some pressure on Putin and say, look, we're not going to put up with this because this is starting to hurt our companies and our people. So if you don't do something, we're going to do something to hurt your country through embargoes and tariffs and other such, and all, magically they disappear.
John Davis brought up Noriega. Doesn't that take us back to,
Yeah.
wasn't Ho Chi Minh at one point?
Pat Oker says Trump may have been different than most Republicans and embraced trade with Cuba, but Republicans have been wrong on Cuba for decades.
I remember that John F. Kennedy sent out Pierre Selinger to go get every Cuban cigar he could find in Washington, D.C.
Did he take copies of his book Catcher in the Rye?
Right. What was his name?
J.D. Salinger.
Oh, thank you. Then he went out and bought all of the Cuban cigars in D.C. and brought them back to the White House on the eve of the embargo.
Imagine that.
But don't worry, Kennedy was absolutely working for the people.
Yeah. Couldn't bring a Cuban cigar to the U.S. for decades.
Dumb.
So Austin slips a few places. Well, let's take our final break. Need to do that. Motto Mortgage. Give him a call today. Give Terry Murray a call. 541-5454, right?
541-5454.
What's that number again?
541-5454.
3 times you'll remember it.
Is that right?
Terry,
PR 549.
Terry will shop your situation and get you the absolute best rate, whether you want to just refinance, you'd like to save some money on your monthly payment, you want to take money out of the equity you've built up in your home, or you want to pay it off faster and make the exact same payment you've been making. Those are just 3 scenarios that Terry can help you with. If you're a first-time home buyer, if you're a veteran, they've got FHA and VA loans available as well. Terry will help you find the absolute best mortgage for your situation, and you'll be happy when you're done.
James Kerr says, I remember the first Cuban I smoked. And I think where I take the next paragraph is,
with his.
I was watching.
with
I was
his
watching.
AR.
I was watching the perimeter in case Song, and one of them strolled out, and I zapped him with a 223 at about 300 yards.
Wind services for all your generator needs,
Plumbing,
electrical.
solar panels,
They can do it all.
they do it all. And
I bet you they can even feed. I bet you there's a solar powered backup generator.
220, 221, whatever you need for your dryer. 223, they got it. What does your dryer run on? 223. It's a powerful dryer. USA Concrete Coatings 578 Home.
Put the wet clothes on the kid and let it run.
That's right. Run faster, Billy. It's humid. 578 Home. Charlie Garcia will come out, seal the cracks in your floor, clean it all up, level it all up, coat it up.
Get it done pretty much in one day.
Yeah, that's what's amazing. The product is 4 times tougher than epoxy, that ugly battleship gray stuff you can buy at the box stores. Let him do it. He's a pro.
Any
Won't
color.
stick.
Yeah, it'll be custom.
Won't
It'll be a nice
fade.
look.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, Cheryl at the Gray Barn. She's been busy. I'm going to tell you, I tried to book Cheryl for a joint class reunion, class of 80 and 81 from Victoria High. What the heck? If you're from Strowman, come on. 80 and 81. In November. Oh, no, I'm sorry. She's busy that week. I mean, I was offering $50. I don't know why she would turn me down, but since she was busy that week, had a wedding for a friend, had a funeral in November.
At your funeral.
Yeah, had a funeral planned.
She's been working with Dawn for your funeral. You didn't know that.
Yeah, I wonder why Dawn had. She had tickets to Cabo in December, but just one. I hadn't figured that out yet. Showed up on my
Should
credit
be in
card.
mourning.
Yes, that's right. People grieve differently, Ash. People grieve differently. I take Saul, the Cabana boy, and I go to Cabo to grieve in Miss Sprint. Yes, yes, yes.
Give Cheryl a call, 361-920-6883.
Kurt is having a flashback morning. He said
He
one of
is.
his buddies married a Ugandan lady. Him and Matt Oker talking together is probably not healthy. You guys, seriously, each of you go to your respective corners, talk to your counselors, and get back to us.
So a lot about the Facebook. They just carry on.
Oh, and
Worry about the
then
show.
later on, like, great show, guys. They didn't listen to a word we said. All they're doing is talking to each other. It's like pen pal. We need to get Sheriff Louder back in here, and
I think Congressman Cloud will join us at the end of this week. I mean,
We
there's
should
only
get-
2 days left, so we're
get
working on
them
that
in at
though.
the same time, and let the sheriff give Michael some encouragement.
So have you noticed the Biden administration, and this is why they went out and put out that stupid tweet on July 4th that this year's July 4th picnic is going to cost you 16 cents, and it did less than it did a year ago.
Right, 16 cents.
Yeah, never mind the fact that they used pork probably instead of beef, and probably at that used pork hot dogs instead of any decent cut of meat. But now you know why they deflected that way, because the June consumer price just came out, and 5.4% over last year. That's the largest gain since Obama was in office.
Gain in what?
U.S. consumer price index increased 5.4%.
Which
So-
means what? Inflation?
It's pretty much an indicator of inflation. So I just find it hard to believe that my July 4th barbecue cost me 16 cents less when basically everything was going up 5.4%.
I go a step further and find it interesting that a man who knows the most minuscule nuances and differences between click, treat, spam,
Prem.
and prim would criticize a pork hot dog. I mean, after they cut out the loins, after they cut out the roasts, after they cut out the hams, after they cut out everything, they make hot dogs.
After the head, after the hocks,
Then they make hot dogs. And
after
what's
the pigs need
left?
to be pickled.
What's left is how they make prim. Think about it.
You know what's left after all that?
Spam.
Lips and buttholes. That's it.
It's funny because that stuff goes into sausage. My mother's like, I ain't eating that. I ain't eating the sausage. Like, it's been boiled.
Mushed up. Tastes good.
right?
John
We're-
Davis is out of here. Torrin Bale says he hopes every day will be a Trump day soon.
What a glorious day that will be.
Yeah. Yeah, is this a little indication of his character? He won't even return Rudy Giuliani's calls these days.
Well, Rudy's been banned in New York. And
Rudy's into a lot of trouble legally, primarily because he was riding Donald Trump's cape.
yeah,
And now Trump won't even return Rudy's calls.
potted meat, says Patrick Strauss.
Potted meat. James Kerr says Hebrew Nation
Head
dogs are
cheese.
the best.
Head cheese says matter.
I could not eat head. My grandma used to make head cheese, and I just could not do it.
I agree with James Curtis. Hebrew Nation hot dogs are the best. They really are good.
Nathan's are pretty good.
I'm surprised that Joey Chitwood, or whatever his name
Chestnut.
is. Yeah. Joey.
He wanted to get this.
Why does he have his own brand of hot
I
dogs?
don't know why. Because he's sponsored by Nathan's,
Oh,
I
there
bet
you
you.
go. Probably makes $1 million a year.
Probably. Why start making your own when they just pay you to show up at these
Who'd have
things?
thought you could get paid to eat? I mean, I've done it forever for free,
You're
Think about
paid to eat.
right?
You've never been paid to eat. Richard King says, "How about some blood sausage?"
Oh.
It's actually not
So
bad.
the other day I was talking to my brother-in-law,
blood pudding.
Johnny. Blood pudding. That's for a more adult show. I was talking to Johnny, and he was talking about how you cook tongue, you boil it, and peel you want to get the taste buds off of it, and just him telling me. If you think about it, it is just a muscle. It's probably a fairly lean piece of meat. I just couldn't.
Translates to tough.
I couldn't eat beef tongue. No. Torrin's got me thinking about like the old Baptist hymn about, what a day that will be when 45 I see.
Matt Oker says Rudy will have the last laugh if that lawsuit progresses. There will be no proprietary protections. The problem is right now, from what I understand, Rudy needs about $5 million.
Oh, Rudy's got money. You know when Rudy
They tried to GoFundMe or one of those crowdsources, and I think it raised about $10,000. They were trying to get to about $500,000.
they're not
Didn't
like,
go so
people
well.
aren't liking Rudy.
No, I guess not, if that's any indication. So, but it does trouble me that Trump would just, if the stories are true, and this isn't reading on the pages of mainstream media. This is hearing people talk that are Washington insiders that, troubles me a little bit that he would just turn his back on the guy.
We're probably the only radio program on the planet that has comments such as, "How about some blood sausage? My mom made the best tongue and gravy. I miss it." We don't have much of that. No, nobody else has that.
I'm betting you Pete Montana has no tongue and gravy recipes on his show.
Right?
That said, we're not going to have any more on this show either. We're
Folks,
gonna
we got to
out of
get out of here. We love you guys. Thank you for indulging our conversation today. Hope you have a safe day on the road. What did it say?
Bobcat Wally says coming soon to Discovery Channel Sausage Week. No, that's on OnlyFans.
Right.
Pornhub.
Porn
Sausage Week.
Sausage Week. It's Sausage Week. Dun. Be safe out there. Know that we love you. And don't forget Alan's Record Service if you need him, 578-6300. And we will be here in Manana, Veracruz today for lunch.